fact, a lot of the contests when he would go to pump up, genetically, if not the most genetically gifted bodybuilders ever. So he had this really tiny 27, 28-inch waist. And then he had all this, his body parts were incredible. I think in Arnold's career, Sergio was the guy he feared the most.
Number one in the boulder was too risky.
You clicked on this video for one reason. You've heard the stories about Sergio Oliva's arms. The biggest biceps ever carved in the golden era. The kind of arms that made even Arnold Schwarzenegger stop mid-stride and stare. But today, you're not just hearing the myth. You're stepping into an old-school arm day with him, set by set, rep by rep, exactly how he did it in the gyms of Chicago, long before he became a three-time Mr. Olympia. In every gym, there's a moment when someone walks in and the whole room shifts, not because they're loud, but because their presence is too big to ignore. That was him. Shoulders like armor plates, veins like cables, and arms that didn't look pumped. They looked ready to tear through the sleeves, even when relaxed. Today we will go through the exact blueprint that built the legendary arms of Sergio Oliva. Before the Olympia victories, before the posters, and before he became the legend, Sergio trained in a way that didn't make sense on paper. Too much volume, not enough rest, and food that would horrify modern coaches. But here's why it made sense for him. Imagine spending your entire childhood swinging machetes in the cane fields of Cuba. Your body will stop responding to normal rules. It will start rewriting them. And here's where the first problem came. Sergio's strength wasn't just strength. It was explosive, unpredictable, and wild. But he needed more. He needed to shape it into a physique worthy of the Mr. Olympia stage. And that mission started with his arms. Sergio began his arm day with standing barbell curls, but not the way most lifters imagine them. He used a wide grip, elbows tucked, and pulled the bar up like he was trying to break it in half. His cue was simple. Stretch the bottom and squeeze at the top. No rocking, no swinging, just pure tension. Slow negatives lasting 3 full seconds, 12 to 15 reps. And when the burn hit, that's when he started counting. The solution to shaping his explosive strength into size was control. Legendary and brutal control. But as his biceps grew, a new challenge emerged. Balance. Because Sergio's arms weren't just big, they were so big that his triceps had to catch up fast. Chicago's Duncan YMCA had a small beaten-up dip station in the corner. Most lifters used it to warm up. Sergio used it to turn his triceps into granite. He performed weighted dips with a chain belt that looked like it belonged in a shipyard, repping with plates that would crush most men. But the secret wasn't the weight, it was the angle. Sergio leaned forward, just slightly, so the tension hit the long head of the triceps, the part that gives the arm that thick, sweeping curve from behind. You want the arm to look big from every direction. This is what he'd say.
Can't fight. If you throw him a punch, you're gonna eat my arms.
And then came the part of Sergio's arm training that shocks people even today, the volume. Most bodybuilders finish arms in 45 minutes, an hour if they're pushing it. But Sergio, he trained arms for close to 3 hours straight. Not backstage, not before a show, in the gym, every week, sometimes even twice a week. Curl after curl, superset after superset, dips, extensions, hammer curls, reverse curls. He treated arm day like a test of will. Problem number 2, most lifters would burn out halfway through. Their grip would fail long before their arms did. But Sergio had that rare kind of endurance that almost didn't make sense, the kind developed from factory shifts, not fancy programming. The solution: keep the blood flowing until the muscle had no choice but to grow. When Sergio switched to incline dumbbell curls, the goal was simple: shape. He wanted the peak to rise like a mountain. So he let his arms hang back behind him, stretching the biceps until they felt like they were about to snap. 3 seconds down, one explosive squeeze up, and a twist at the top that made the biceps peak jump like a heartbeat. A young lifter once asked him, "How many sets, Sergio?" And he just laughed. And the answer was shocking. "As many as it takes." Sergio said,
So I say, gotta be a better way.
"If you're still here, you're one of us. Someone who loves the old school stories, the iron, the sweat, the legends who trained long before social media existed. So if you've ever stepped into a gym and felt that fire inside you, hit subscribe. Because here, we keep the golden era alive, one story at a time." Now back to the triceps. Because Sergio's arms weren't built on curls alone. He had a strange love for overhead extensions with a single dumbbell. Heavy ones. Rumor has it, he pressed 150 pounds overhead for reps using just his triceps. The movement forced the long head to stretch fully, loading it like a spring. And when he pressed up, that spring released into raw size. But here came a new challenge, holding onto the weight while his shoulders shook from exhaustion. Problem number 3 came the moment. The weight started getting heavy. With arms as big as his, the plates didn't just challenge the biceps, they pulled on his wrists, his elbows, even his lower back. One bad rep could ruin the whole session. That's why Sergio slowed everything down. 3 seconds down, 1 second up. Every rep like he was sculpting, not lifting. The solution wasn't more power, it was control. The one thing he trusted more than strength. But with control came a new challenge. When the pump got intense, his shoulders began to shake. His forearms lit up, and his grip started slipping. Holding onto the bar became a battle of its own, not against the weight, but against his own fatigue. His final biceps move of the day was hammer curls, the thickening exercise. The one that made his arms look dense even when relaxed. Thick forearms, thick brachialis, thick everything. Because golden era physiques weren't built just to look big. They were built to look powerful. And by the time he finished his workout, Sergio didn't check the mirror. He didn't measure his arms. He didn't talk about optimal volume or time under tension. He just wiped the sweat off his face and went to work a 12-hour shift at the Foundry. And that's exactly what old school bodybuilding looked like. That was the golden era. That was the myth.
I feel like my whole life, I feel like all I've been doing is studying tape, and I've been born in this sport. I tell people all the time that bodybuilding is different for me. It's what I do, but it's also why I'm alive. My parents were both pros. They met because of the sport of bodybuilding, and now here I am, and I feel like I've been waiting for this my whole life, and now I don't even know what to say.
And now it's your turn. Because every time someone picks up a barbell with real intent, Sergio's story keeps living. So tell me in the comments, which golden era legends should we break down next? And if you're chasing your own legacy, take Sergio's mindset with you. Relentless work, simple tools, and total focus. Subscribe now, because the next story might be the spark that brings back your fire. And with that being said, I will see you in the next one.